Nekoverse is an upcoming fully fledged MMO experience built on the blockchain for mobile gamers. Initially doing the research video for this project, I wasn't completely sold, but after getting to talk to Leo from the team in this interview, I am a lot more excited for this game. So stay tuned for a deep dive into the Nekoverse. Welcome everybody. Today we have Leo from the Nekoverse team. Leo, thank you so much for joining me here today. Why don't you just tell everyone that's listening here, who are you and what are you doing with this Nekoverse project?
Yeah, hi guys. My name is Leo. I'm the CEO and founders of Nekoverse. And just probably I can give also a short description about Nekoverse as well. We're building an MMORPGs with a very unique player-driven economy and with a lot of cute characters that is Neko on Solana. And very happy to be invited to talk here today.
Yeah, we're excited. We just covered, with the research, and we love to hear and follow up and get a little bit deeper with the game. It's awesome to do all the research, but sometimes it's just great to get to actually know the team members, and I think that's really helpful for people wanting to jump into games. So I want to start here with your story. What's the background of this? I think we're all into this NFT gaming play to earn space for different reasons. So I want to hear from your perspective and the team's perspective. Why make an NFT play to earn game at all? Why not just, hey, you're a mobile game, you can sell that game on an app store, you can make microtransactions. What's the deal with going with this NFT route instead?
Right. So that actually came down to the story when we first ideated Nekoverse, right? We were, business in previously, me and other co-founder work in venture capitals. We analyze a lot of things, looking at a lot of markets. Another two co-founders also are, one is the tech entrepreneurs and another one is expert in brandings. So we sit down together. We invested in a lot of projects and really dive into the researching into technology of blockchains. And we are all gamers ourselves. And the idea that we had at the time is we see a lot of blockchain games being created every day, a lot of projects out there, but we have not seen anyone that truly leverage the fact that people have now own digital assets, and we want them to be able to use those digital assets in any way they want and produce value out of that. So with Nekoverse, the idea is to be able to allow players use their Neko characters, produce product and services, engaging in many kind of different activities, interact with other players, and more especially transact directly with each other, That is when the blockchain parts came into play, right? And truly leverage the decentralized identity of blockchains to allow people to interact without being with their virtual avatars, create product and services, sell that to other players, and truly create a vibrant community and economy right inside a virtual world. So that is the inspirations of what we want to do with Nekoverse, basically.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that's a big reason why we're all here is because we want that ownership of assets and be able to do what we want to do with it, right? Have some control, have some ownership of it, and it's great that you guys are giving that back to players. So I'm curious, as you look at the NFT gaming industry right now, as you look across all the games that are available right now, what do you see in this space, and what do you hope that Nekoverse is going to add to it?
Right. So the thing that we definitely want to add is in terms of the gaming experience for players, right? We want the player to have a fun time inside the game, because after all, game is born for entertainment. There can be many value comes with a game, but the utmost important for us is the entertainment for players. So with that, we choose the genres of MMORPGs to be able to provide that experience. Player can engage in a lot of activities, engaging in the storylines, a lot of contents, and more especially the MMO parts. Bring about the social elements of the game where they can interact, play with their friends, and a lot of that. And all the economic is just to enhance the gaming experience and deliver new gaming experience in terms of transactions, producing stuff inside the game world. So that is in essence what we want to be able to deliver with Nekoverse.
Yeah. Are you a big MMO player already? Like, what would be your favorite one?
Yeah, so MMORPGs, Elder Scroll Online. I haven't catch up with the new MMORPGs though. I really want to play Lost Ark. I play Albion Online, World of Warcraft, also single players RPGs like Skyrim. I spent 1,000 hours in Skyrim. So
Haven't we all?
those were the good old days. World of Warcraft, Tyrants, our marketing's our chief of growth, actually is the guild. Have his own guild back in the World of Warcraft days.
Yeah.
So we're all, in love with the concept that people being characters joining a world and then bonding with the environments, bonding with the people in that world. And we will want to bring that into Nekoverse as well.
Yeah. Walk me through a little bit of the mobile market for MMOs, because as you said, I'm a player that used to play MMOs back in the day. I don't feel like I have as much time for it anymore. And, I'm used to playing RuneScape and World of Warcraft and EverQuest and some of these other games you listed on my PC, right? So
Yeah.
what's the advantage of going mobile with this game? And is there a pretty big MMO market already for mobile, you think?
Yeah, so to us, these are decisions for when we created Nekoverse. In terms of the mobile markets, we want to target the broader audience. So traditionally, MMORPG usually targets the hardcore fantasy players, right? So you see a lot of games with the themes of medieval fantasies, these kind of things that to really target the hardcore fantasy players, and those they have been playing on PC traditionally. But with Nekoverse, we want to drive the adoption from the broader audience, that is the mid-core players, those that have been playing Genshin Impact, for example, Pokemon's, been waiting to play a decent MMO Pokemon forever, and with that, we want to, with that target, we make some conscious decisions in terms of designing Nekoverse. First of all, is the very accessible art style with the cute Neko characters. They are loved by both children, men, women alike. Shown in our Discord, everybody loves it. The mobile first approach, right? So you can play everywhere in a short period of times or longer times, however you see fit, and also through the game design in itself, a very flexible game design that does not heavily focus on just one particular area like the battles, but instead players can choose how to engage in the game in any way they like. Some can be very focusing on the battle elements of the game, that battling to gain like high rankings, being competitive, or just play with their friends, crafting items, gathering resources. So that is to accommodate the broader audience of the markets, and we believe that market is also going to grow in the futures as more mid-core players are introduced to the MMORPG style, basically.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome that you're trying to appeal to this huge, wide audience. I think that's what made one of the things of Pokemon so successful, right? Is that I can play it, my wife can play it. If we have kids, I'm sure they'll want to play it as well one day.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things when I was watching it and looking through this research, the battling system, when I saw those clips, I was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of Pokemon. And I want to know from you, is that the inspiration, or am I wrong in that? Is the battling going to be different than that? And, who are you targeting with this battling system? Is it more of that casual player, or is there some deep strategic thinking behind some of the battlings that you're implementing there?
So the battle systems is designed to be able to achieve just that in terms of both targets. So it is easy to get into because it's very, at the first look, you know exactly what you're going to do. You have the skills, you have the consumable, you have turns. So you will know what to do right away. It's quite familiar, similar to Pokemon. And then the mastery part, the challenging part, is how you customize your characters. That is a character customization game loop that you have to do beforehand, before joining the battles. So Neko is actually like a classes systems where you customize everything, right? From the skill that the Neko can learn, the equipment that he has on, and the consumable you brings in. So all of that combined create different strategy for players, and the team composition as well, with the element dynamics between different elements of the Nekos. So all that factors truly create the ability for player to craft their own playstyle and makes it hard to predict when joining the game. And so you have to be very strategic in terms of how you want to customize your characters to be able to win. That is the so in essence, that is the easy to get into, challenging to master kind of gameplay that we want to deliver.
Yeah, no, again, I think that's cool that you're trying to appeal to many audiences. And I really hope that you're successful in that, because it would be a fun game. As I said earlier, it's fun for the whole family, right? Like there might be someone that's me, like I want that in-depth strategy. I want to have that complex thinking that I outsmarted my opponent. Whereas my wife might just be like, I just want to play a battle and see if I win, but like I don't really want to have to try too hard to learn all the in-depth and intricacies of a game. So that's cool that you have both sides of it. How about the MMO, the exploration part of the game? Because that was something I was really curious about as well, looking through the research report. I know there were some snapshots of what it looks like, but I was curious how much of this is active and all this resource and crafting. I'm gonna have to go out into the world and actually click on to mine. We've seen a lot of games right now. It's mostly just idle missions. You send your NFT, you come back 6 hours later and you collect the resources, right? So which one of that is that going to be for this MMO, the exploration part?
Yeah, so this going to the former part, the former choice. You go use your character, navigate around the world, click on the items or the resources, the trees, the mines, to collect the resources. That's how you gather resources, and then when you go into like a blacksmith to craft items, some items have pre-available a recipe for you to craft. Some items you have to gather the recipe yourself, either from loot from battles or from another players that sell the recipe. So it's a mixture of both. Some items that you can craft or very available, already available to craft, and some you have to gather the recipe. And once you click craft, the resource will be transformed to the items, and the item will go to your inventories. So that is the flows of item craftings in Nekoverse.
Great. That's awesome to hear. Is there leveling in all these? Like, am I going to have a mining level, a wood chopping level, all those things come in?
Yeah. So we call that the profession systems. So beside the battles, you have the utility part, right? The resource gathering, item craftings, all the enhancings, all these kind of things. So we call that the profession systems. And each profession system have their own independent efficiency level or path, I would say. So you can progress along that path and gain more efficiency, gain more bonuses, unlocked ability for use in terms of craftings, in terms of item gatherings, and what you can do with that professions. So that provide the progression for players that want to focusing on the utility part of the game instead of the battles. So they can have separate battle level and separate profession level, and that provide the freedom of choice for players. And there will be many professions. Right now we're at 8, and we're planning to expanding to 15 to 20 different professions.
Wow.
So you have blacksmith, crafting items. You have the enhancers. You can craft gems and enhance it to weapons or accessories. You have necromancers, you have merchants, and a few others.
Yeah. I love that. As you're saying this, I'm picturing, and I'm almost tempted to go back to my RuneScape days. I haven't touched it for 15 years, but I'm like, I know I left on like level 80 of wood chopping, and I need to get to 90. Like that's still in me. I think that's one of the things that makes MMOs so addicting, right? Is that leveling progression and seeing what's ahead if you get those levels going.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about RuneScape is the sheer amount of the items that you can craft, you can purchase, you can sell inside that game world, and we also want to be able to deliver that in Nekoverse, the sheer choice of options for players to explore and do inside the game.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I've heard pushback from people, and I don't know if you've heard this as well for MMOs, but when I've mentioned MMOs and how I'm so excited for this to come about for play to earn MMOs because it makes so much sense to me, people are like, it's just going to be overrun by bots trying to farm out. We already see a bunch of bots in World of Warcraft and RuneScape to get gold and sell it on these other sites. So it's already happening in these other MMOs. How does the team handle that? How do you guys think about bots being in your games? Do you have a stance and how you're going to handle these things?
Right. So bottings fundamentally will always try to exist in games, right? You've seen bots in World of Warcraft, RuneScape, and the thing that makes Nekoverse less resistant to that is the player-driven economic model, where in order to sell something, there must be a buyers, and that is when the blockchain parts come into play, right? The tokens is the cryptocurrency. People purchase tokens in order to be able to use inside the game, and every transactions is player to players. So if the bots massively farms out, for example, stone, right? But no one want to buy stones. If it's not sold correctly, the stone price will just plummet, and a lot of people will not want to buy or flip the stone anymore. So that is the ability of the economic model to kind of prevent or reduce that. Is disincentivize people to mass farming or mass mindlessly doing certain kind of actions without being strategic about what they want to sell, what they want to offer to the market to get the most return.
Gotcha. So it's more of an economic approach to say, hey, the bots won't have the incentive. How do you respond to players who might be like, well, okay, the bots, yeah, now they've pushed the price of stone or wood all the way down because they've gathered all these resources. So now what's my incentive to go out and get these mining tools and to wood chop? Because the bots have already, crushed the price almost to nothing, right? Do you hear that type of argument?
Yeah, so definitely there will be measures in terms of detecting bots and filtering out those out of the ecosystems. So we do both to minimize that.
Yeah, I'm curious too. I wonder how much of the mobile aspect of that. I know there's so much botting on desktop and PCs with World of Warcraft and RuneScape, and maybe there is. I'm sure there's enough people smart enough with their mobile devices to figure out as well. But maybe there's less of that potential because it's on mobile as well. I don't know.
Yeah. So, I guess we'll have to. We always put security first, so we'll develop a lot of measures before the game launch, but there will always people trying to do that. So we have to counter measures as we go.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, I know you guys talked a lot about, at least in the research report, one of the things that kept coming up was we want to combat this declining reward structure that, you and I talked a little bit about Axie before this interview started, right? We've seen so many of these play-to-earn games. It's like they pump up crazy amounts. The token's going crazy. Everyone thinks they're going to be rich forever. And then all of a sudden, a couple weeks later, a couple months later, their token's down to almost nothing. And so I know you guys have wanted to combat this based on what you're saying here. What are some of the biggest things that you see Nekoverse doing that maybe Axie or some of these other games haven't done yet to help combat that?
Right. So it's basically the entire game mechanics and the economic models that we choose. So when creating Nekoverse, we really have to sit down together to see which kind of MMORPGs mechanics that we would use to be able to have a more sustainable in-game economy, and also the economic models that support the gaming experience and make the price of the asset more sustainable in the long run. So first of all, the MMO part, right, provide a lot of sinks for the token, basically, for a lot of ways to use the tokens. People trading for items, people hiring others to do their services. For example, you can hire me to craft your items. You can hire me to craft your potions. All these kind of product and services. That's why I earlier mentioned that we want people to be able to provide product and services inside Nekoverse. That create demands for the tokens, right? And not only new players need those product and services. The existing players also create that demand by themselves as they progress inside the game. So the more people join, the more demand, the more active the players within the game will become, the more demands that will and the more players producing values and earning from the fact that they are producing values. So that is the game mechanic part that enable a longevity inside the game. And secondly is the player-driven economic models, right? So in a player-to-player transactions, it is the zero-sum economy where you exchange the tokens for product and services. Like you can purchase an axe, you can hire somebody, you pay ASG, which is our in-game token for that. So in that transaction, no new token is being generated, but instead the current circulating supply is being transferred from one player to another, and that reduced token inflations. We're not eliminating token inflation completely. There will be some token emissions inside the game, but we'll control that along with how the economy is enlarging. But the majority of the game transactions, we aim to make it, the player-driven economic models. So that support the token values over the long run.
Yeah, so if I'm understanding you right and thinking about Axie doesn't really have that. What you have in Axie is just people buying SLP so that they can breed more and more NFTs, right? It's not really this player-driven economy. So in your mind, because this game is going to be more in depth, more fun, the players are actually going to be trading with one another rather than, hey, just give me some more of your tokens so I can just breed more of my NFTs and we can just rinse and repeat. Am I getting that right?
Yeah. So instead of us selling the items, that's usually with games. You have a shop where you can purchase item from the store. Everything in Nekoverse, 99% of things will be produced by the player themselves.
That's awesome.
And sell that. Yeah.
So how does the team and business continue to grow then? Are you guys taking fees from the marketplace transactions? Are you guys selling any NFTs? How are you guys raising funds and keeping the business alive as you go?
Yeah. So the revenue model of Nekoverse is to monetize the transactions that happens in Nekoverse, right? So we take a small portions of every transaction that happens in Nekoverse. Either somebody hiring somebody to do something, we take a portion of that. Crafting fees inside the games, every kind of free when using services, we take a portion of that. When play transact directly with each other, or the listing fee in the marketplace, we take a portion of that. So that is the revenue model for Nekoverse. And a part of all that transaction will also be distributed to the NFT holders in the form of the landowners and also the guilds and the professions. So value created will be distributed among the community. So that's the idea. When together we want to incentivize everybody to contribute, and then everybody can benefit from that.
Got it. Yeah, that's awesome. How about for the NFT part? I know you guys have a breeding system as well, and I think that's one of the things that we've seen other games struggle to handle well, because it just inflates like crazy. So what are some of your thoughts around breeding and creating new NFTs so that we're not, destroying the value of some of the older ones, but as well giving a chance for newer players to get into the game? How do you handle that balance?
Yeah, so that is also one of the very, very important decisions that we have to make. We decided to only launch the breedings before the main phase of the game, so that by that time we have thoroughly test out the product, test out the economic frameworks, test out all the mechanics and ready to scale. And then by then we'll open up the breedings so new players can join in, and existing Neko owners can breed and sell their offspring Nekos. And then in the futures, how we manage the supply of the NFTs is actually through disincentivize in terms of as you breed more from one characters, the cost is rising after every breed, and also there's a cooldown. So that is the two mechanics that slowing the growth curve of the breedings. And also inside the game with Chaos Land, which is the final regions of Nekoverse, there's a mechanics that we call asset removal. So basically you stack your NFTs on the line to enter combat. You lose your NFTs and equip items. So that's one way to burn Nekos.
Yeah, I was really interested in that piece because I've only heard of one other game have that idea so far. So, I mean, do you think players are going to go for that? Because, are the rewards just that great? Is that the idea in this chaos land? I'm going to put up my NFT. I'm going to risk losing it all. The reward, I'm guessing, must be pretty dang good for me to want to do that. Is that the idea behind it?
Yeah, actually, there's two parts that incentivize people to do that. First of all, is a full loot systems. A lot of players love that. Love that concept when you have to stake your character on the lines to be able to win a high returns. And the second is the reward. So rare loot that exists exclusively in Chaos Land, rare resource that you can mine, and also the last portion of the storyline that exists within Chaos Land. So that is the rewards for players when entering it.
Yeah. Well, I'll see if I'm feeling up for it. I don't know if I am. This sounds pretty scary, but I agree that it also can make it, really fun and another intense part of the game. Maybe that you've explored the rest of the world. Maybe you're like looking for something to do and you're like, well, I haven't, put my money on the line and tried for the Chaos Land yet. So it's another aspect to the game that makes it more intense.
Yeah, so the way that we envision Chaos Land in the future is actually a place where guilds send their expedition crew in, to compete with other guilds for rare resource so that they can bring them out, offer that on their guild marketplaces, and attract visitors to their land. So that is part of the larger cycle of the economy where they compete for, the rare and scarcity of the items that exist within Chaos Land.
Is there potential PvP in the Chaos Land, or is it just PvE?
It's going to be PvP.
Okay. So you're going to be able... I can come into the land and take all of your stuff.
Yeah, so in Chaos Land, it's quite dangerous. You have to be prepared for battle.
All right. Well, I'll see you there. I guess we're going to have to get a really strong guild going because I don't want to do it myself. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, as we wrap up, I want to know from your point of view, we did some research, and one of the things that the team had a harder time finding was information about the team. And I wanted to know from that, is that a permanent choice? Is that intentional, or can we expect more information about the team going ahead in the future?
Yeah. Actually, we're quite transparent with that. We will update the website pretty soon. So the previous website is serving the offering of the NFTs. Right now, we are working on the third version of the website, focusing very much on the games and providing more information about the game in itself. But the teams, we start with 8 people, the 4 founders I have mentioned before. I'm myself. Tat is also my co-founders. He worked with me in venture capitals. Hong is the tech entrepreneurs. He built and exists tech company, and also Tyrant is the expert in brand and marketing. He's built brands, retail brands, and also has very, expert in expertise in scalings and growth in terms. So that he's our chief of growth, and together with 4 other engineers and our lead game developers, we started Nekoverse. And by now we have 43 people to be exact in the teams.
Wow.
Yeah. So 30 people on the development side, blockchain engineer, software development, Unity developers, backend, front-end servers. About 8 people on the visual teams. The 8 people in the visual teams is also in the product side. The 8 people in the community side, so that they are the mods, the social media managers, and also 4 people in the operations side.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you for sharing that, because I think one of the things that makes people nervous, it makes me nervous, is when the team is fully anonymous. Not that you guys were fully anonymous, but I think it builds more trust, right? When you can actually say, hey, here's who we are, here's our experience. Because some of these people, not me, but some other people, they're putting hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars into these games, and some of them have gotten really burned by teams that were completely anonymous, whether it was a scam or not. They had no responsibility, right? So I'm glad that you guys are sharing that. So thank you for filling me in there. And I'm curious, for your point of view, do you guys feel like you have enough, or are you still hiring? I know MMOs are really large projects that take really big teams, right? So is 43 enough, or are you guys still looking for more?
Yeah, we're definitely rescaling. We have not stopped scaling for quite a while. So throughout the past 5 months, we go from 8 to 43.
Wow.
And probably in the next 2 or 3 months, we're going to 70s. We'll definitely need to scale the content production part of the game.
Yeah, MMOs take a lot of resources. I'm not a developer personally, but I can understand why it would take so many people working on one game with just a massive world, right?
Massive amount of content that you have to create, both in terms of the story, the art, the visuals, the sound effects, everything coming along with that, the game design as well.
Awesome. Well, Leo, thank you for your time here today. I want just a last chance, anything that we didn't get to talk about today that you want to shout out. And if people are interested in following along and learning more, jumping into the community, where would you point them to?
Right. So you can, if you want to know more information, talk with us, talk with our mods, you can go to our Discord, discord.gg/Nekoverse, or Twitter is Nekoverse _NFTs. So that's our two social medias. That's our two main channels. You can find us anytime in those platforms. Yep.
Cool. Any other interesting things that we should know about Nekoverse, or was this pretty good?
Oh, right. So there's actually one other thing. We want to be, as Nekoverse, the company as a company, we want to be able to support the entire blockchain gaming industry, shaping the industry. And so we also develop a sub-product like we call Nekoverse Wallet. It's going to be a non-custodial multi-chains blockchain gamer focused wallet. By blockchain gamers focus, I mean we provide all the function that blockchain gamer needs, like NFT classification into different projects, so you have easier time managing your NFTs, decentralized app browsers on mobiles or multi-chain, so you can access your games, all the marketplaces, OpenSea, Magic Edens on every chains on your mobile right away. Connect that with your wallet, and we'll be providing a lot of features in the future that support the experience of blockchain gamers. And right now it's on the App Store. We are testing the product, gathering feedbacks, and probably in the next month or so we'll do a soft launch of it. So that is the product that support the entire blockchain gaming infrastructures that we really want to introduce to people.
That's exciting. Yeah, I had no idea that you guys were doing that. And that's one of the frustrating things about blockchain gaming right now is that going from game to game and setting up a million different wallets and trying to get different tokens for all these gas fees, it becomes a really big pain point just to try one game, unless it's on the same blockchain. To go out and try another game, sometimes it's just not even worth it. So it's cool that you guys are building out some infrastructure in this space as well. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yep. Then we'll be doing a soft launch for that very soon. It's already on App Store, so if you search Neko Wallet, you can find it. There might be some bugs at the moment.
Sure.
So we're still fixing all of that before the soft launch.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing with me today. Go check out Nekoverse if you guys haven't already. We've done the research report. You guys got to hear from Leo today. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope for the best for you guys, success to your project, and we here at Balthazar will keep following along and seeing where this game goes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
I hope you got a lot of value out of this interview. I know I sure did, getting to hear more about the Nekoverse from Leo. Also, if you really enjoy these types of long-form interviews, don't forget that you can go to Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms and find us at Balthazar NFT Gaming. Don't forget as well to jump over to our website to find more resources, research, and information about our upcoming public token sale. For now, this has been Luke Plays to Earn with Balthazar. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video, which is just a click away.